the services you love in one simple plan.
4 big tech firms have gone from small startup companies to powerful monopolies, not seen since the era of oil barons and railroad tycoons. That's according to a damning report from a congressional antitrust panel.
Pandemic, these corporations already stood out as titans in our economy. In the wake of COVID-19, however, they're likely to emerge stronger and more powerful than ever before.
Here are the highlights from the report, detailing how they amassed huge market power and what some lawmakers say needs to be done about it.
We've got some really exciting product announcements to share with you.
First, there's Apple. Apple's issue is that it's the gatekeeper of what software consumers can put on iPhones. That is, apps made by third parties. Most iPhone users get their apps from Apple's App Store, and that allows Apple, according to the panel, to overcharge software developers, exclude its rivals, and misuse developers' data to create competing services and features. So what's the fix? They say it's to stop Apple from competing in markets where Apple's competitors must rely on the App Store to reach consumers. Details were scarce, but in theory, it could mean that Apple would have to exit from streaming music and television, for example. Facebook, another of the giants, was alleged to be guilty of cutthroat competition by copying, acquiring, or killing up-and-coming rivals, such as WhatsApp and Instagram. The report stopped short of recommending a breakup of Facebook. Instead, it proposes empowering antitrust enforcers and regulators investigating Facebook's practices. Google was also on the list. It's alleged to use overly restrictive customer and partner contracts. For example, the report says that its CEO, in internal emails, approved stiff-arming partners to make sure Google's search engine was front and center on mobile devices. And when one hardware manufacturer complained that Google was overloading its devices with mandatory Google software apps, the tech giant blamed the hardware manufacturer instead for not making gadgets with more memory. The committee called for laws requiring big service providers such as Google to provide fair access to their systems. And that could give a leg up to device makers and developers that want to shift away from Google products. Finally, there's Amazon. It allegedly has a monopoly over the merchants that sell their stuff through Amazon. There's a conflict of interest, according to the report. The merchants don't have a viable alternative to Amazon. Amazon, meanwhile, has an incentive to use data from competing merchants to the advantage of its own goods and services. The report recommends barring Amazon from competition with others who depend on Amazon's infrastructure. Amazon was the only company that responded to Reuters' request for comment. It challenged the allegations of dominance by saying it represents less than 4% U.S. retail.